Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Iowa soccer supporters. I'm your Soccer Talk co-host, Ben Brackett, alongside my pal Blake Sievers. Together we are Beavers. Sievers, how are you?
I don't know about that, but I'm good, Benji. I'm good.
We'll
I'm good
thank our,
today.
our good friend Charlie Bales for that nickname, um, among many others. So Friday afternoon, we're getting ready for a game of the week, weren't we?
We were doing a little scouting because we were gonna
And
go to
we were going to go watch Lincoln host Atumwa.
on the girls' side.
Yep, on the girl side, but we were also trying to get our audio visual stuff all sorted out. And as we were in the process of that, we found out that we were not going to be able to go see a game tonight. So we are a little sad, but we decided to make ourselves glad and just do a little pod for you guys. What's the topic this afternoon, Blakey boy?
I kind of like it because we're going. We do the game of the week. A couple weeks ago, we talked about an issue that was we were made aware of it up in Ames, the field there. This week, there was a YouTube presentation, soccer officials webinar between the Boys and Girls Associations with coaches, with officials, um, among a couple of things. Shin guards were an issue. The old dog so
Yep, denying a goal scoring opportunity.
obvious,
Yeah, denying an
I
obvious goal
think.
scoring
And then
opportunity.
the new
Sorry.
one is spa,
Okay, what's the
which
boss
I'm not
stand for? I didn't hear
100%
that one.
sure. I didn't listen close enough. But part of the topic, another part of the or one of the other topics was um, bench behavior amongst players and coaches.
That's an interesting one, all things considered. Um, Before we start talking about it too much more, let's just make sure that we introduce our guest today. As always, when we do game of the week, we try to have the Titan tactician in the studio with us. So today we have Matt Sahag again, bringing us his astute analysis. Hello, Matthew.
Hey guys.
Nice to see you.
So yeah, so I was just one little piece of background info. This bench decorum, I think, is maybe technically what everybody likes to say is a point of emphasis and has been a hot topic lately.
Especially hot topic because the state final last year on the boys' side in 4A was a golden goal winner if you in the double overtime or maybe it was only in, I don't know, you the dragon. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but people rushed the field. The bench behavior slash decorum would be considered by the referees as inappropriate. I would say it's like incredible, like in a good way because it's
Best
the
moment
most,
in high
yeah,
school soccer history in
yeah,
the
it's
state
super
of Iowa.
cool. I mean, I can understand both sides of it. But if you push me, I probably side with the excitement of the players and the fans. As a Dragon, I'm guessing you probably agree.
What's that best moment in high school history soccer in Iowa?
So so that's been something that they have put on the list, the referees and the association for a while now. Um,
Plug the YouTube channel because again, we got some clips. Sorry, Ben, I
no,
didn't mean to
that's
interrupt you.
perfect. Excellent interruption. You should check out the YouTube because we're gonna have Matt pull up a few of these clips. Blake, do you want to just set the stage though for what we know?
Yeah, I mean, we like East. We understand we don't get to all parts of the state. Try to get Eastern Iowa covered, Northern, Southern, Central's obviously heavy. But our friends over in Eastern Iowa, we were made aware from a few people just about a recent situation between Iowa City Liberty, Matt Harding over there, the defending champions in 3A, played Kurt Lewis and his Cedar Rapids Prairie.
Prairie dogs.
I think
I
they're
think
like the
the Tigers. I think
Hawks
they're
or
the Tigers.
Cedar Rapids
Sorry,
Prairie.
Kurt. Cedar Rapids Prairie.
So two old boys. I think they went to school together, college together.
Yeah,
Former teammates, former or still friends, former teammates, buddies. No, Iowa City Liberty essentially scores a near last minute winner, which, as you
exciting.
can imagine, would be
Big game.
excitement.
Big
Yeah,
game too because obviously Liberty's 3A and Prairie's 4A.
Prairie's had their number as a traditional
Yep.
power now. Lewis has them sorted out over there.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that part of why we're even having this conversation is not because of the rivalry or the actual specific situation, but part of the challenge, right, is the number of red cards. that Iowa City Liberty has received this year. Is that correct? Is that how I'm understanding it?
Potentially, I mean, that's part of the one of the
Uh,
topics because
yeah,
now if you get four red cards as a school, you are not
as a
allowed.
team
Sorry, yeah, as a team, you're not allowed to play in the postseason.
At all.
at all. And so, like,
So if
if you
you're
were to
playing
get,
15, 18 games, soccer rules are sometimes, it's hard to compare stuff, I think, with soccer and other sports, but sending offs, ejections, whatnot. But yeah, you're done.
yeah, so um, in those four situations, and that could be all season long. I mean, even if you were to get a red card in the sub-state semifinal and that was your fourth red card, the game would just end there and you would forfeit. So that's our understanding. So I think that's a little bit why I would say Liberty is concerned about their red cards.
How many do they have?
They're not well. This gave them their third red card of the year.
And then they've had three in their last three
It
games,
better
according to
better
the
be on their best
stats.
behavior.
Well, and then you've got questions of like, so do you just like forfeit the rest of the games and just get to the state tournament? I don't
No.
know. So let's just talk about the actual situation at hand, though, Matt.
Do you have the,
The
I don't know, yeah, what do you want to show the clip, Matt, or do you not? I don't know, or do you want to talk about what do you want to do?
Yeah, I've got the clips. I mean, so I'll tell you what it let just lead into what I think happens is there's there's a goal and there's a bench clearing celebration. Iowa City wins it, like you guys have said. The players run down to the corner to celebrate as a team together, and then they have a brief celebration, and then the players return to their end of the field, ready for the kickoff. And I would say that the celebration, well, we're going to see it in a second, but I think it's less than 30 seconds. So let's just watch the celebration here. And last week I was good at sharing my screen
I
and
was gonna say, you guys, this is why you hop on and check out YouTube because Matt is actually getting pretty good at this.
so this is the Liberty bench right here. Actually, so there's the goal. Players go off, they run to the corner, or no, run to the sideline. Look, here comes the fans celebrating.
You say fans, those are JV teammates. It's we think.
Yeah. So here now comes the referee over to the sideline.
Can you mute your? That's the crazy parents in the background. I love it.
All right, let's just stop it there. So that is 34 seconds right there, right? So
From when the goal was scored
it's
to
actually from before the goal is scored. Look,
gotcha.
the ball's in play here. The goal scored 5 seconds in, so it's literally 29 seconds. There's the celebration. And yeah, when I say fans, some of the JV players are over there as well. It doesn't look like the whole bench is there yet. Then we lose some of the camera angle. Referee addressing the player with the ball. I think here they're just probably trying to get a foul or
I think they're
something.
asking for a foul. The
Yeah.
goalkeeper's upset.
And so then here you go all the way here. Now, if you watch on the left-hand screen, now we see the linesman in yellow appear, and he's trotting over to talk to the referee. And right here, as we see him coming to the screen, he's also passing the Prairie coach, Kurt Lewis, who, let's see if we can zoom in on that. Oh, I don't know if we can. You can kind of see Kurt Lewis on the very left. He's got his hand out pointing, and there goes the referee, the linesman. And so that's the play.
That's a celebration
That's the
that is
celebration we're talking about.
under review.
Which is
But
comical that we're talking about this
It's
a little
not much
bit.
of a celebration.
so, all right. So, but then what happens? So because we've got send-offs based on that celebration, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, red card to the coach for essentially not controlling his squad.
And so when you say coach, it was Matt Harding.
Harding.
Is he the only guy that got sent off?
No.
Who
No,
else?
because eventually Kurt Lewis gets sent off as well.
Okay, right. So
Yeah,
then
he's the only one. the old brothers, buddies are both end up seeing the door, don't they?
Right. So Harding gets sent off, the Iowa City coach. Then they have some sort of exchange, I think, or Kurt Lewis has some sort of exchange with the referee and he gets the boot as well. And like Siebert says at the beginning of the podcast, they are friends off the field and they were college roommates, right?
Or teammates.
Or teammates. And so these are two guys who've known each other forever and they've both been sent on in a game over a late goal in a game that was a pretty big game in high school. So I mean, for me as an observer, just watching, I it makes me laugh, quite frankly. I know this is a serious topic, but I'm looking in after the fact going, this whole situation is just silly. Anyways, I've got some more opinions on it, but here's Matt Harding's point is first of all, it looks pretty benign, right? That did not look like anyone did anything wrong. And then number two, he says, well, wait a second. If you look at what other teams do, it's no different. And so let's look at then a couple of comparisons. So I've got to share my screen here, right, guys?
That's right. You're doing quite well at it.
What happened to
And
mine?
here's our filler content because we're pretty good at that. Jump on the pod, go ahead and slide into our DMs, let us know. Um, I'd love to know Kurt's side of the story too.
Oh, I know.
Love to know Matt's side. It'd be great.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting to hear, and we might get some comments from other people that were there.
All right, so here's like a North Scott game. Um, all right, so player's going to pick up the ball and throw it in. This is another 48-second clip. Ball gets thrown in the midfield. One touch past to the center back. Center back takes it wide left to the left back. Left's going to play a short pass, sucks a midfielder in, back to the holding midfielder. Out wide. This is really good. This is good possession buildup. I like it. Ball gets played in. Oh,
well done from the striker there.
And then a really good cutback, and then not a good finish. Right? Looks like this is it. So watch the players now. The players nearest all run down. They're on the field. Even the players that are not players are on the field.
The referee's over there kind of breaking the crowd up. Linesman, I should say.
I think the coaches have come down to clear it up. All right, that's it. So that was 48 seconds. That was about 13 seconds longer. Looks pretty benign, right?
So that was a North Scott that scored that goal, by the way.
It was one of the teams. I've just got it labeled as North Scott.
Okay, well, whoever scored that goal, you guys got to be submitting that goal of the week because I think that wins. Like that's a goal. What, 15 pass movement maybe?
I don't know. Our votes, the guy loves the long boot, so we'll see.
All right, so here's another one. I've got this labeled as Valley, so I believe it's Valley in white. So there, ball in midfield gets played out to the left-hand side, all the way wide left.
Knipsu there, right?
Knipsu takes on a player here. Cross, good turn, quick finish. Here come the Valley players to celebrate. Again, players are on the field.
And players subs on the field.
All right, and so that clip is, how long was that?
Not long. 20 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. So I think Matt Harding's argument here is, well, first of all, in the clips that we've just showed you, the two comparisons, no players get sent off, no players get yellow cards either, right?
Correct.
And so now what Matt Harding is saying, well, wait a second here. There seemed to be varying standards here for what is a red card and then what's not for a bench clearing celebration. So
and I think the other point, Matt, just to jump in real quick, is I think part of it is like the point of emphasis. This was just talked about within the last week or so by the associations and the referees saying, hey, we want the kids to have fun. We want them to celebrate. They're on their own side. They're not running across the opposition team's bench. And like he said, it's harmless. It's benign. That is okay. This is coming from the referees. And now within a week, That's not the same message.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some different opinions on this. So I don't know why it's necessary. So I like a tidy bench. Like when I watch the game, what I like to see is I like to see the players sitting down in pennies or a different color or a warm-up
Is
jacket
this when you're reffing
if
or
they're
just
not
in
playing.
general?
No, this is just when I'm observing and watching. I don't like to see chaos on the sideline. I like to see one coach standing up and the rest of them sitting down. I like to see one coach giving instruction and not like multiple coaches just, you know, chirping the whole time. And so when I watch games when there's multiple people up or the players are standing up, to me, it's just chaotic. And I can see how a lines person, it's hard for that lines person to deal with just the chaos and all the noise. And so I think it's important for these teams to keep a tidy bench during the game. I also um, don't think it's necessary. I want them to have fun too. I think the fans should have fun, but I think there's a difference between your team, your entire team running down to the end line and celebrating versus the fans getting engaged in the game. And so again, I like a tidy bench. What I would like to see is if some of the players are warming up down in their area, fine, go celebrate with the team. But I don't think there has to be a bench clearing celebration for every goal. I know, don't I mean you can
Oh,
call me
I
a fun,
love it.
fun hater,
I love the bench clearing celebration.
but
For every goal?
These are like these are. I mean, we're talking Liberty. 14 seconds left to win the game.
Yeah, that's
That's
acceptable.
massive. Yeah, I mean, if you're, I don't know. I mean, goals the hardest thing to do in soccer is score a goal. Look at on the weekend. Every game you see on the weekend on TV, what happens when the boys score or the girls score? Complete pandemonium.
that yeah.
Difference
Well,
of opinions. That's all right, Titan.
yeah. So here's the other point on this too, because I'm going to play devil's advocate for the other side here, maybe for the referees, but also for just the players and the coaches who are aware that the association has made this an issue, right?
So antagonistic, isn't he?
Well, right or wrong, like you can say the referees and the association is right or wrong, right? This has clearly been identified as an issue. And so you also are aware that there's a four red card rule, which I don't like. I don't like the rule. I think it's because the red cards are a lot of times subjective. But if this is the case, and if they're giving red cards for bench clearing celebrations that go the wrong way, I'm sorry, but if you're the leader of your team, you have to say sit down and do not risk a red card. Otherwise, you don't have control of your bench as the coach. And so I think there's, you know, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, context matters in terms of like what they've been told, what they know is the issues, and the details I think also matter in the situation. So I'm not saying there should have been a red card. I don't like the fact that those are red cards, but don't shoot yourself in the foot when you know this is an issue. And here's the other thing too is it looked to me like some of those players, one looked like maybe they had jeans on. That could be wrong, but I think some of the players are not even rostered that went to celebrate. And some of the players might be on the JV team and not even rostered. So I don't think those players have any business being on the bench or celebrating either, because otherwise you're asking. It's the slippery slope, right? You're asking for problems down the road. And so again, I like a tidy bench. I like to see something other than chaos throughout the whole game. And so I just think, um, but I also I obviously think it's important for the players to have fun and stuff like that too. So I see both sides here. But if you're aware it's an issue and there's a four red card rule, which by the way is devastating. Like I don't like that at all, but it's just a devastating couldn't be a devastating rule. I think you've got to I mean, you can't shoot yourself in the foot.
Well, and I mean, we know it's an issue, right? Because even if you go back to the state tournament summer, and you don't talk about the Johnson game, if you remember Norwalk, I don't remember who they beat, but it was a late goal, and the player that scored it was sent off for taunting. If you remember, he kind of like went to the like towards the crowd, did one of those, he pumped him up a little bit, or maybe I
Yep.
think he put his that's right, he put his hand up to his ear, like let me hear you, and they consider that taunting. He got sent off and didn't get to play in the final, right? I think is what it was. So I mean, there's just good examples of it all over the place. So if you're a coach, I mean, that's probably as much as I hate it, like you probably have to make sure that those conversations are had and that the boys understand or the girls understand that, yeah, you can't. can't get a red card for rushing the field after a goal. Like it's same reason you can't take your shirt off anymore when you score.
Right.
I mean, which I've definitely gotten a yellow card for that.
So I think it's great that we're having this conversation though, because look, it shows I mean, how meaningful these games are, and like the fact that the fans are getting engaged, right? So to Blake's point, I mean, it's pretty awesome. Actually, this conversation has to take place because people are so invested in these games. I don't know. I mean, would we have had these celebrations 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where the bench clears and goes to the end, where the fans all rush the field? I don't know,
And I mean, it's not happening in club soccer either, right? That's
right?
part of why high school soccer, or one of the things that's cool about it, is the atmosphere environment.
100%. So they definitely got to find a balance. Again, I don't see those celebrations were so like just not eventful. I think if you've got one if the referees sort of hands are tied and they've been directed by the association to give red cards for that. I mean that's a little harsh. I mean I guess look at it.
I think that's the associate and the refs are saying, hey, that is okay. So clearly there was some kind of miscommunication or misunderstanding, which is a massive misunderstanding or miscommunication.
Yeah,
Because the red cards, I mean,
the videos. I think you just to be honest, I think you just tell the players to sit down and don't do it because otherwise it's just the slippery slope, right? Then you have a hard line rule. But I can see how the association has been like, no, we want the players to have fun because they do. They want that, but then they have to draw the line somewhere. But again, like, it, I mean, how many different circumstances do we see in sport in general, right? Where after the fact, you can always whine about something. And then, but, the finger always points back at you, right? It's like, well, if we would have finished our chances earlier, like it wouldn't have mattered. Well, if we would just sat down on the bench, like there wouldn't have been a red card. And so these are the high pressure moments in the game is what matters. And that's part of, I think, the learning process for the players and everyone involved is that you have to make good decisions in these heated moments. And so I kind of like it that a decision has got to be made for these players not to lose their cool even in the celebration because it teaches them how to manage themselves in the game. I'll say for both of the coaches as well. I mean, they both get sent off. I mean, what is that, guys? I mean, come on. And their college roommates. That's what I think is the comical part for me, right? Is that the two coaches are the ones that got sent off over a high school celebration. So you just remove yourself from it and look from the outside looking in and say this is just pretty absurd.
Yeah. Well, to your point, Matt, the we last time we were having this type of conversation, we we were talking about eliminating excuses. And if that's what you're trying to do, that's why, that as a coach, you would just say like, all right, so everybody like they stay on the bench. Like that's just what we do. We're not going to have any excuse when the game's done as to why things didn't go our way, other than we got beat by a better team. Like that should be your goal.
What are the other so what's the status for red like the four red card rule? Do we have any teams that are facing elimination?
I think Iowa City Liberty is the only one. Maybe we'd have to get
well,
Unbound and look through it, but I
I mean, it became big time difficult, right? If you're like, do you do the Luis Suarez and like block a shot off the line to save, and if you're in the sub-state final, get
right.
sent off, but hope they miss the penalty, but there won't be a penalty because the game gets called. I mean, four red cards too, by the way. Like you said, Matt, come on. I
Yeah.
think that's silly.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
it's silly from both sides too. Like you're as players and coaches, you shouldn't be getting that many, and referees shouldn't be giving them out that often. Really, I mean, you'd hope.
right. I mean, I just like I think that there's enough deterrent in that you've got to sit out a game, right? That I mean, you're not possibly if you get too many red cards along the way, and they're for your top players, obviously, you're not probably not going to get to the final anyway. And I also think the association with all this video can review red cards and give harsher penalties as well, based on the game reports as well. So like if you've got a ball cleared off the line, and it's a handball, and it's a what they call it a dog so.
Yeah.
Um, then I mean, to me, that's a 1 game suspension. Now, if you have a guy go into a tackle and try and break a guy's leg,
Yeah.
that's 3 games or maybe even see you later, right? And you've got a review process. But the collective penalty is pretty harsh. It reminds me of, um, being a player actually and having one jerk in the team, not pass the fitness test, and so everybody runs,
Yeah.
which I always thought was incredibly unfair. That's what it reminds me of. But I think that rule should change. The four reds.
Well, I don't know about what you think, Blake, but no matter what, I think we're going to get some feedback from some different sides, and it'll be interesting to see what the people think. Um, I think uh, it will be very interesting to see what happens with Iowa City Liberty through the end of the year. Sounds like they've had a challenging season regardless of the red cards. So, um,
Do they
you got
what's their record? Do we know?
we can look into it.
So they are the defending state champion again in 3A,
It's true.
and they do play, the kind of that, at least,
Mostly 4A schedule.
yeah. So currently they are sitting at 3-4.
Okay.
So they are.
So not out of it by any means. I mean, you just gotta.
So sorry, 3-4. That means they've played 7 games this year and they've had 3 red cards. That's
It's not a trend, not a good trend.
no.
Do we know what the first two were for?
One was a bad tackle, I think,
Okay.
but I don't know about the other.
Oh man.
But again, people keep sending us keep giving
Yeah.
us insight and stuff because these are things that are obviously happening, and hopefully we can bring some awareness and talk about it.
Yeah, right on. Anybody got any parting thoughts?
No, very, very interesting.
Yeah,
So
and it will also be interesting to see how the weather shakes out today because a lot of games canceled. So hopefully everybody stays safe with the weather, and we will talk to you next week for another game of the week.